We continue to see troubling things happening all around the world. The U.S. is releasing funds to Iran amid nuclear tensions. 4-year-olds are being taught about sex in children's books in their schools. And the government is threatening parents in California to have their children removed from their homes for not agreeing with their children's gender confusion. Today, I'm discussing some disturbing articles that shed light on the moral disintegration of the world we're living in. I truly believe we're at the end of the end times. In the subscriber portion, I'm answering questions such as, is this the last pope? If you want to hear similar topics and be surrounded by like-minded believers, I want to invite you to Fellowship Church this weekend. We have our Tipping Point Prophecy Conference that's happening September 16th, this Saturday from 9 to 5:30. I'll be there. I'll be speaking twice that day. Rabbi Jonathan Kahn, Dr. Tony Evans, Ed Young, Dr. Mark Hitchcock, Billy Crone. We also have with us Rick Renner joining us that day for our Q&A panel. It's going to be a fantastic day. Rabbi Jonathan Kahn is going to be blowing the shofar. He's going to be speaking. Then he'll be blowing the shofar and leading us in a special service commemorating the Feast of Trumpets, which is this weekend during our prophecy conference. Love to see you there. Go to endtimes.com and you can sign up for the prophecy conference. We have reserved seating. I'll also be speaking at Fellowship Church this weekend. Fellowship Church is in Grapevine, Texas, just about 5 minutes north of the DFW airport. Wonderful church. They have campuses all over the Metroplex. But I'll be speaking Sunday morning on Bible prophecy. So I'm speaking twice, as well as all of our other speakers on Saturday. But then on Sunday morning, I'm speaking again on Bible prophecy. I'd love to have you be a part of that. Have a new book coming out this Saturday, the 16th. That's End Times Answers. 100 real questions from real people. And you can get this on Amazon.com. You can also get it on xomarriage.com. I'm glad you're joining me today. I'm Jimmy Evans. Welcome to the Tipping Point Show. This is from the Jerusalem Post. This is the IAEA. That's the International Atomic Energy Agency. The chief says Iran has expanded stock of near weapons grade uranium. Now what I'm about to read you here, this is really alarming and amazing for this to be happening. And I've got several articles to read associated with this. It says IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi warned on Monday that there is a routinization process underway of Iran's many nuclear violations. At a press conference after he addressed the IAEA Board of Governors, he also cautioned that any future deal between the Islamic Republic and the West must take into account the massive nuclear progress by Tehran from IR-1 centrifuges to IR-2, IR-4, and IR-6 centrifuges, as well as from 3.67% enriched uranium to 60% enriched uranium in large quantities. While hoping for progress in negotiations with Iran and the West, he said he would continue to flag Iranian violations based solely on scientific basis. Earlier in the day, he told the IAEA Board of Governors that Iran has continued to increase its stock of 60% enriched uranium close to weapons grade, and that there has been no progress in getting Tehran to credibly explain the existence of illicit traces of uranium found at undeclared nuclear sites. These developments came as somewhat of a surprise given the clear progress that has been made between the West and Iran in recent weeks toward unfreezing about $10 billion in Iranian assets, releasing 5 U.S. citizens in Iranian prisons, and the noticeably reduced attacks by Iranian proxies against U.S. forces in the Middle East. The IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi regrets that there has been no progress in resolving the outstanding safeguards issued in the reporting period. One of the reports said, referring to Iran's failure to credibly explain the origin of uranium particles found at 2 undeclared sites. Well, this is troubling to say the least. They've made huge progress, and they're now enriching uranium at 60%, which all of this is a violation, and all of this is something that we didn't know about. They're shocked. They can't believe it. Well, this is another article here. This is, again, very troubling associated with this. This is from the Jerusalem Post. The headline, Israel will act against Iranian nuclear pursuit, uranium enrichment. This National Security Advisor Saki Hanegbi stated there would not be any choice but to act if Iran enriches uranium above 60%. Israel will act against Iran's enrichment of uranium at above 60% because that means it was admitting pursuit of nuclear weapons. National Security Advisor Saki Hanegbi told the World Summit on Counterterrorism in Herzliya Monday morning. If Iran enriches uranium at above 60% as an action that we would identify, and there is no chance that we would not, that the world and the International Atomic Energy Agency would not recognize it. The result is that Israel would have to act. There would not be any choice but to act, Hanigby stated. Passing over the 60% threshold would mean that we have reached the moment when Iran is clearly telling the world that it is going for a nuclear bomb, Hanigby explained. It would mean that this is now Iranian policy. Hanigby noted that recently Iran had hit the 83.7 mark on uranium enrichment, but had hastened to explain that this was a mistake. Such steps are never accidental, he added. So they're continuing to enrich uranium at higher and higher levels, getting to nuclear or weapons grade nuclear weapons. And so what they're saying, we've talked about this a lot in the last couple of years on here, because this has been going back and forth for a long time. But let me make two statements here, okay? And the first statement is, Iran won't stop. This is the Islamic Republic of Iran, and this is what we don't get. This is what our leadership right now, they just don't get. The Iranian people are wonderful people. They're Persian. They're not Arab, they're Persians. And they're just intelligent, warm, wonderful people. The problem is the government. The people in Iran do not like their government. They've revolted against their government many times. And so right now, what we see happening in Iran is they have a hardened position that they're going to destroy Israel. They have a missile. They have this hypersonic missile with Israel's name on it. I mean, they've engraved on there the destruction of Israel. And so they want to destroy the United States and they want to destroy Israel. So two statements. One is they're not going to stop. Absolutely not going to stop. Number two is Israel will hit them. Israel's going to strike them. Israel is telling the world, if they begin enrichment beyond 60%, we have to stop it. And they will. When I had Bill Salas on the show a few weeks ago, and we were talking about the coming wars, the first war that Bill and I both believe is going to happen prophetically is Jeremiah 49, is the war in Elam, when there's a strike on Persia, on southern Iran. And so I believe this is imminent. I don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but there's just a lot of rhetoric. And what's happening right now is troubling. Listen to this. We're talking about troubling. This is from the Associated Press. U.S. moves to advance prisoner swap deal with Iran and release $6 billion in frozen Iranian funds. This was as of yesterday, 9/11. Washington AP. The Biden administration has cleared the way for the release of 5 American citizens detained in Iran by issuing a blanket waiver for international banks to transfer $6 billion in frozen Iranian money from South Korea to Qatar without fear of U.S. sanctions. In addition, as a part of the deal, the administration has agreed to release 5 Iranian citizens held in the United States. Secretary of State Antony Blinken signed off on the sanctions waiver last week, a month after U.S. and Iranian officials said an agreement in principle was in place. Congress was not informed of the waiver decision until Monday, according to the notification, which was obtained by the Associated Press. The waiver drew criticism of President Joe Biden from Republicans and others who say the deal will boost the Iranian economy at a time when Iran poses a growing threat to U.S. troops and Mideast allies. On X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa said it's ridiculous for U.S. to be blackmailed into paying $6 billion for hostages, which will help indirectly finance the #1 foreign policy of Iran, terrorism. Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas accused Biden of paying ransom to the world's worst state sponsor of terrorism. Another Iran hawk, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, said the waivers were a sign the administration was secretly pursuing a broader deal with Iran to include more than the release of the detainees. Today's news confirms there's already been a side deal, including a $6 billion ransom and the release of Iranian operatives, Cruz said in a statement. So we're now releasing $6 billion to the Iranians. We're releasing some of their prisoners. They're releasing some of our prisoners, and we're also releasing $6 billion. Well, as I've already stated here, they're not doing anything related to their nuclear program. They won't they agreed, I believe it was last March, to reconnect their cameras. They won't do that. They won't account for 2 sites that have traces of uranium. They have defied. They now are, announcing their progress. And the IAEA is shocked. They said, we can't believe they've made massive progress and they're enriching uranium now is 60%. They're shocked. Well, they're defying the entire world related to their nuclear program. And they're going to get a nuclear weapon now. It's just a matter of time. And so the United States, in the meantime, we released $6 billion to to the nation in the world that wants to destroy us in Israel the most. They released $6 billion, and we released some prisoners, and they released our prisoners. Let me say this, when you give somebody $6 billion, you're only incentivizing them to take more prisoners. So in the future, what you can look for, as soon as the dust settles and they get their money and they cash their check, they're going to begin to arrest Americans over there for no reason, like they already have in the past. They'll begin to arrest Americans because what they understand now is that's their collateral. They're bargaining chips. And we're willing to pay. We're willing to deal with terrorists. We're willing to give terrorists $6 billion. That's what they are. The Iranian government, they're killing, they're attacking Israel through their proxies in the Middle East. They're attacking our soldiers and they're attacking Israel. And so, they're endangering American military people that are stationed there in Syria. And so here we are giving them $6 billion at this critical time. It's bad foreign policy, I can say that to say the least. But Iran, the whole situation with Iran, and they're masters. I mean, you got to give them credit. They are masters at negotiation, the Iranians are. They have played the world like a cheap fiddle. And here we are giving them $6 billion and their hostages. Why don't they pay for their hostages to be released? Why do we have to pay for ours? They don't have to pay for theirs. So this is a bad deal all around. But the main thing I'm saying in reading those articles is Iran and Israel, they're going toe to toe here pretty quick. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's getting closer. Hey, listen, thank you for joining me today. Hey, on YouTube, hit your like and subscribe button there. And also to get all of the news articles and the questions that I'm answering, go to endtimes.com, become a subscriber for $7. God bless you. Goodbye.